Okay, so I'm sure we'll still have people joining, but it's 7 o'clock and we have some really great information to get through this evening. So I will get started. So thank you for joining us tonight for this webinar. If you are watching for yourself or for someone you care about, I hope tonight's information gives you a really great and important understanding of why we need to pay attention more to men's health, and of course, how we can take charge of men's health naturally. If you do have any questions this evening, feel free to use the chat feature or Q&A. I will address any questions at the end of the presentation. So just kind of put your comments in there and then I'll get to it at the end. So during our time tonight, I will be discussing the importance of men's health. We'll go through some key health facts and trends related to men's health, but the majority of the time will definitely be spent discussing dietary and lifestyle strategies, along with key natural health products that will help men as they face various health concerns, specifically unhealthy lifestyles, high stress levels, hormonal imbalances and low libido, and prostate concerns. So it's pretty well known that men's health often takes a backseat to women's health, especially when it comes to prevention and early detection. So why is this? Well, it's been statistically shown that men unfortunately engage in more riskier behaviors. They're more likely to smoke, drink alcohol, and lead unhealthy lifestyles. They're also, more prone to paying less attention to symptoms that might come up that might indicate a serious health concern. And of course, this will delay, any visits to primary care providers and delay any testing that needs to take place. So a couple of these reasons, of course, makes it obvious that we don't really give enough time to men's health, and men, unfortunately, don't make their health a priority like they should. So this was an interesting survey that was done in 2009 by the Cleveland Clinic. They found a few interesting facts, and they wanted to explore why men don't put their health as a priority, and of course, what can be done to change that. So they found 72% of men would actually rather do household chores like cleaning the bathroom or mowing the lawn than go to the doctor. They also found 20% of men admit that they have not been completely honest with their doctor before. 41% of men were told as children that men don't complain about health issues. And this is a really, I think, important fact, especially as we're raising our own kids. And finally, 61% of men said they would be more likely to go to their annual checkup if seeing the doctor was more convenient for them. And we know, we face long wait times for appointments, and it can be very frustrating for individuals, and that definitely impacts our health journey. So again, just some key facts showing how men's health is really taking that back seat. And because of that, we see men being, more at risk for certain health conditions. So in Canada, compared to women, men are 57% more likely to die from diabetes, 79% more likely to die from heart disease, 40% more likely to die from cancer. They are 4 times more likely to commit suicide, so definitely indicating some mental health support that needs to be in place. And they are more likely to be overweight or obese. There are a variety of reasons for this. So definitely, not having men's health as priority is huge here. But we also know there's factors in terms of genetic factors that can play a role in the emergence of these concerns. But it's also been found that 70% of these chronic health conditions are actually caused by lifestyle factors when it comes to men's health. So knowing that, we know that there's some really important changes that we can suggest and implement in order to positively support men's health. Men and women do face similar health concerns. So commonly, we see heart disease, type 2 diabetes, stroke, mental health concerns such as depression and anxiety and osteoporosis can be experienced by both men and women. Men will also face their own unique health concerns, such as low testosterone and high estrogen levels, which occur with aging, erectile dysfunction, and prostate concerns, such as BPH and prostate cancer. So important just to keep in mind some of the health concerns the men in our lives might face. So that's just a little bit of background, statistics, facts, sort of things that are happening right now. But I, definitely wanted to spend most of our time together talking about what we can do to help men in terms of living healthier lives, how we can support men who deal with high stress levels and need a little bit more in terms of adrenal support, how we can balance hormones in men as they age, and how to address prostate concerns. And in particular, we'll look at some solutions for BPH. And if you're just joining us, again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or Q&A, and I will answer them at the end of the presentation. So let's talk about some healthy living strategies for men. So a study that was done in 2018 by the Canadian Men's Health Foundation actually found that 72% of Canadian men live unhealthy lifestyles. So this relates to how men are eating, sleeping, exercising, and their exposure to alcohol and smoking. So specifically, 62% of men have an unhealthy diet. It was found that 54% of men either undersleep or oversleep. 59% of men do not get the recommendation required for exercise each week. 39% of men have unhealthy alcohol consumption, and 20% of men smoke cigarettes. And it was only, unfortunately, 5% of respondents that had no unhealthy behaviors and were classified as very healthy. So I think very alarming numbers. We definitely need to pay attention to this to start to change this around, because we know that unhealthy behaviors such as not eating well and not exercising and engaging in smoking and alcohol, etc., are associated with comorbidities among men. So again, including heart disease, such as high blood pressure and elevated cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, osteoarthritis, depression, and erectile dysfunction. This can also happen in women. It's not, so specific to men only, but of course our topic tonight is men, and really the understanding of how these behaviors can impact overall health as we get older. So as already mentioned, 70% of men's health conditions, can be supported or prevented with healthy living strategies. So let's talk about some key areas here. What does that mean? How can we adjust a man's healthy, lifestyle in order to prevent chronic disease? So first off, of course, regular checkups and screening tests. So really changing the mentality, men's priorities in terms of really putting their health first in order to get regular checkups and screening tests for early disease detection. Healthy diet, regular exercise, stress reduction, proper sleep, limiting or not smoking, not drinking alcohol, and using supportive nutrient and herbal supplementation are all very important here. So we're going to talk about a few of them in more detail next. So when it comes to regular checkups and screening, We know this is very important. We need to encourage the men in our lives to get checked out, especially if they are experiencing any alarming signs and symptoms that can indicate a more serious condition. The testing that is done really varies throughout life. So what an individual might be tested for in their 20s and 30s will differ in terms of what's tested when a man is in their 70s and 80s. So unfortunately, we didn't have the time to go through each stage of life and what really needs to be tested as a man ages. But if you actually go to the Canadian Men's Health Foundation, there's a really great men's health checklist available that you can download, and it goes through the different decades of life and what men should be getting tested for at different ages. So I encourage you to get that information and take a look at what needs to be tested and have that conversation with your healthcare provider in terms of what is important, so nothing is missed. Again, it's important that when men experience concerning signs and symptoms, that they don't ignore them. Oftentimes, these symptoms such as urination difficulties, snoring, changes in weight, a lump in the testicles, memory loss, sexual dysfunction, can be signs of something more serious taking place. So I know, unfortunately, a lot of people, men, want to ignore it. They don't want to address when those symptoms come up, but it really is important to take the steps to get assessed properly in order to prevent anything more serious from happening. So definitely be familiar with some of these signs and symptoms and get help when needed. When it comes to a healthy diet, we always want to focus on eating fresh food, minimizing processed foods whenever possible. A really great rule is the 80-20 rule, where 80% of the time you really try to eat as clean as possible. And then you allow yourself that 20% of time of maybe indulging a little bit more, having treats, etc., that may not be, part of that clean eating. So that's a nice rule to follow, and is often, kind of easy for people to implement. But when we do sort of organize our meals, prep our meals, you want to make sure that there is a balance of healthy proteins. This can include plant-based proteins in combination with animal-based proteins, especially including, more things like organic chicken, wild fish, etc. Veggies, of course, very, very important, eating more veggies than fruits because they are more low glycemic index and are better in terms of balancing blood sugar levels throughout the day. Smart carbs, this includes more of your whole grain carbohydrates like quinoa and barley, etc., instead of refined processed grains. Healthy fats like olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, and lots of fiber, all really, really important. A healthy diet also requires minimizing the intake of inflammatory foods. We know inflammation is a trigger for many chronic diseases. So foods such as dairy, gluten, sugar, caffeine can trigger inflammation. So we really want to minimize our intake of those foods. And drinking water, we can't get away from that, of course. Not drinking enough water will lead to dehydration, and that can lead to lack of energy, reduced focus, headaches, and a slew of other concerns. So when it comes to healthy eating, really focusing on these key tips is important. And then another part of establishing a healthy lifestyle is making sure men are getting some of the key nutrients that they need for overall health. Now, ideally, we want our diets to provide all of our vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients that we need for healthy living. Unfortunately, that doesn't always happen, maybe due to the quality of food that we're taking in. We often live, very busy lifestyles. So looking at nutritional supplements to help fill those nutritional gaps can be very, very important. Men can look at, taking a multivitamin. There's multivitamins that are designed specifically for men. They contain key nutrients that will help to support men's health, reproductive health, energy levels, brain health, cardiovascular health. So I encourage you to look at these specific multivitamins. They're often designed for men under 50 and men over 50. Protein we know is very important. So if men aren't getting enough protein sources in their diet, that looking at a protein supplement can be very helpful. And then there's other key nutrients that will play beneficial roles for specific body systems. So for example, our omega-3 fatty acids are very important in terms of helping to reduce inflammation. They play a key role in supporting our brain and heart health. Magnesium, a great nutrient that will help to support men during stress. Probiotics for gut health, antioxidants, very key, especially considering the amount of, toxic exposure that we have and concerns in terms of oxidative stress in the body. And then there are more condition-specific natural health products that we will talk about as we proceed through the presentation, ones that may support prostate health or libido or testosterone levels. So it doesn't mean, I know this is a big list, it doesn't mean that men need to take all of these at one time. It really depends on the specific health concerns that might be coming up for a man and what they need to pay attention to. Okay, so we have a foundation with, making sure that our men are getting regular checkups and screening tests, that they're eating well, that they're exercising regularly, and they're getting the nutrients that they need. So, this is in itself can be a very big step, but very, very important in terms of establishing a solid foundation of health. But then we know there are other concerns that can come up for men. One big concern being stress and the need to support the adrenal glands. So let's talk about that next. We all experience stress, kids experience stress, women, men, and stress is our response to a situation or demand. Common stress triggers can include work, finances, relationships, and even illnesses and being sick. When we are experiencing stress, there are specific hormones that are secreted that will influence the body's response to stress. So in the initial stages of stress, you may experience things like increased heart rate, faster breathing, high blood pressure, tense muscles. But as the stress continues, the body's ability to adapt changes. And unfortunately, continued stress will increase our risk of chronic diseases. So although the body can handle short-term stress, it can often, short-term stress can often be positive and motivating under certain circumstances. We know that chronic stress can be very detrimental to our physical and mental health. And it's, even though women are, statistically known to express concerns of stress more often, stress does definitely impact men as well. So when we are experiencing stress, there's a very important hormonal response system that comes into play known as the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal, or HPA axis. So we have the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland in the brain. They send signals to the adrenal glands, which are these hat-shaped glands that sit on top of our kidneys. They are often called the stress glands because they are the ones that help our bodies adapt to stress. They're the ones that secrete those stress hormones that will help us cope with the stress at hand. As mentioned, we go through different stages of stress. First stage is generally the alarm stage, where we have that sort of fight flight response and try to deal with a stressor very quickly. But if the stress continues, then we'll go through different stages, such as the resistance or not coping well during a stress during that stage. Then unfortunately we'll go into the exhaustion stage. So constant stress on the adrenal glands has been shown to lead to adrenal fatigue and exhaustion. And medical research suggests that actually 90% of all illness is stress related. That's a very, very big number, and definitely something that we want to address for both men and women. As mentioned, men are less likely to report emotional and physical symptoms of stress, which can include feeling overwhelmed and being unable to cope, even with the simplest things sometimes during the day. Mood changes such as anxiety, irritability, and sadness, cravings, most often for sugar, salt, and caffeine, coffee. Fatigue and dizziness can come about, sleep disturbances, headaches and body aches, hair loss, decreased performance, frequent colds and flus, especially with longer recovery times. So, instead of getting over a cold in a day or two, it can last a week or more. Weight changes can also occur in men that experience long-term stress. And in addition, low libido and erectile dysfunction can also take place. So we want to support men when they are under stress. We want to give them an opportunity to express how they are feeling and how the stress is impacting their mental and physical health. As always, we want to create a very healthy foundation so men can address stress in a positive way. So that includes eating well, again, as I mentioned before, eating real, fresh, whole foods, minimal processed foods, making sure men are engaging in regular physical activity, nothing strenuous that can be actually more exhausting. So, simple walks, getting outside to get some fresh air, like jogging, swimming, even basic stretching can go a long way. Relaxation exercises such as deep breathing and mindfulness. Getting a good night's sleep, always important. And I find this when I work with my patients is always one of the more challenging areas. I know individuals like to stay up late, catch up on some shows and, deal with some tasks they weren't able to get through during the day. But often, late nights can impact our energy levels, our focus, and our hormonal system. So really, it is really key to, try to get that, 7 to 9 hours per night in order to help restore the adrenal glands and how our body is responding to stress. We also know that, high cortisol will impact our melatonin levels and impact our sleep. So again, just really addressing that area is very, very important. Optimizing our nutrient intake. So there's actually some, nutrients, vitamins and minerals that the body really uses up readily when it is under stress. So, nutrients such as vitamin C, magnesium, our B vitamins, our body uses very rapidly when it's under stress. So supplementing with these nutrients can be very, very important. And we also know vitamin D is key. It's an important nutrient for the immune system. So if we are seeing longer recovery times related to colds and flus, then we definitely want to look at vitamin D in terms of supporting immune health, and the omega-3 fatty acids, as always, helping in terms of reducing inflammation and supporting brain health. Another key area when it comes to supporting the body during stress and restoring the adrenal glands for men is looking at adaptogenic herbs such as MACA. MACA is a very important herb that helps to restore the adrenal glands. So maca is an adaptogen. It's been used for thousands of years throughout the Andean mountains to improve the body's resistance to mental and physical stress. This is what adaptogens do. They help the body adapt to physical, mental stress that it might be experiencing to offset, the negative impact that stress might be having on the body. It's been shown to balance the hypothalamus and pituitary glands. And if you recall a few slides back, I mentioned these glands as being part of the HPA axis, that hormonal response system that's in place when our bodies are dealing with stress. So maca actually helps to balance the hypothalamus and pituitary glands, which will help to regulate the adrenal glands. And maca is known as a superfood. It's high in protein, fiber, vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, all nutrients that we need in order to establish good health and deal with stress in a positive way. Maca has been used to address specific concerns such as low energy, fertility, and libido. So you can find maca in powder form. You can also find it in supplement form. One example of a maca supplement is the Ultimate Maca Energy. So this is a sun-dried and ethically farmed source of organic gelatinized maca. So sun-drying the maca is a natural way to remove moisture in maca without impacting its active constituents. And gelatinized maca is basically refers to the starch components of maca being broken down so it's more available and digested in a better way. So maca has been shown to support healthy mood balance for men and women who go through menopause. It's been shown to help support the emotional aspects of sexual health. There's actually research showing anywhere from 2 to 3 grams of maca can improve libido, sexual desire in men. Again, maca is a source of antioxidants, and this particular product is formulated for men and women. It's suitable for vegetarians and vegans. It's organic, non-GMO, and gluten-free, and available in vegetarian capsules and liquid that you can add to a smoothie or other beverage. Okay. So let's move on to hormonal health and libido. This is a big area when it comes to men's health. So we know one of the main sex hormones for men is testosterone. It's primarily produced by the testes, and it plays a very important role during puberty for male development. We know testosterone is very important for sperm production. It's also important for supporting the bones, for fat metabolism, muscle mass and strength, red blood cell production, and maintaining libido. The highest levels of testosterone in men could occur in the ages between 20 to 30, but unfortunately start to decline when a man reaches 30 years of age, 30 to 35. We start to see about a 0.4 to 2% decline per year once a man is in his 30s. So, and you'll see that this chart here, this gradual decline throughout life. So when a man reaches his 70s to 80s, testosterone levels are quite low. At the same time, there's actually an increase in estrogen. So we often talk about estrogen in relation to women's health, but estrogen is also important for men's health. Again, it's that balance that needs to take place between testosterone and estrogen and other hormones. But as men age, as that testosterone decreases, there's an increase in estrogen that can also take place. So that can be triggered because of the changes in testosterone level, also triggered by an increase in body fat. High cortisol levels can trigger high estrogen. Our exposure to xenoestrogens in our environment from pesticides and other chemicals can also play a role. So what happens? What do men experience when this hormonal imbalance is taking place? Well, lower testosterone and high estrogen can actually impact energy. Men will start to experience reduced energy levels and fatigue. They'll have low motivation and reduced performance. There'll be sleep disturbances and mood changes. They will experience a loss of muscle mass and strength, along with an increase in body fat, especially around the belly. There will be hair loss that takes place, low sperm count, which will impact fertility, low sex drive and erectile dysfunction, gynecomastia. So that's when there's enlargement of the breast tissue, and, that's, often referred to as man boobs that can take place. So that can occur, a decrease in bone mass, and overall an increase in concerns such as type 2 diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease, osteoporosis, and even anemia. So something to really pay attention to as men are getting older. These changes do take place. These hormones do change, and they need to be supported in order to minimize some of those signs and symptoms and reduce the risk of those chronic health conditions that can take place. So what can be done? So when we're looking at increasing testosterone and reducing estrogen, I can't emphasize this enough. I know I say this a lot, but diet is really, really important because there are, again, chemicals in our foods that can impact our hormone balance. Pesticides, especially other chemicals that can increase those estrogen levels. So looking at buying organic fruits and vegetables wherever possible to, decrease our exposure to pesticides is very important. If you're not familiar with the Environmental Working Group, I encourage you to look them up. Every year, they come out with a list of the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. So the Dirty Dozen referring to the foods that have the highest amount of pesticides, which we ideally want to buy in organic form. And then the Clean 15 being the foods that have the lowest amount of pesticides. So okay to buy as regular produce. So something to keep in mind in order to decrease our exposure to those xenoestrogens. Consuming high quality proteins. And of course, we want to avoid synthetic hormones that we might find in animal proteins. So looking at, purchasing organic, pasture-raised, or 100% grass-fed animal products. If you don't want to consume animal proteins, that's also fine. Then focusing on plant proteins would be very important. Eating more cruciferous vegetables. So eating lots of cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. These are all very important because they contain specific compounds that help to promote healthy hormone metabolism and the removal of unhealthy hormone metabolites from the body. Reducing our exposure to other estrogen-like chemicals that we might find in things like plastics, cleaning or household cleaning products, and even personal care products. So things like fragrances, etc. Here, you want to be careful in terms of your exposure to those synthetic chemicals. So look for household cleaning products and personal hair products that are cleaner. Instead of using plastics, use glass and stainless steel as alternatives. Other ways to increase in testosterone levels: exercise, especially weightlifting and high intensity interval training, managing stress and getting enough sleep. That always comes up. Supporting the gut, also very important because the gut is involved in elimination of those hormone metabolites that we don't want to absorb and may cause more harm. So looking at the incorporation of our prebiotics and probiotics, very important. And then there are specific nutrients and herbs that can actually help to increase testosterone and reduce estrogen. So one such example is Ultimate Testosterone Boost. This is a synergistic formula that's designed to address stress and support testosterone production. So specifically, it provides ashwagandha, in particular, clinically studied KSM-66, which has been shown in research to have very supportive adaptogenic properties, helping the body adapt to stress and deal with stress. It's also actually been shown to increase testosterone production in men. This product also provides diindole methane, which is a metabolite that's found in those cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, that will help to support detoxification and the elimination of harmful hormone metabolites. And it really provides also a nice combination of specific nutrients such as zinc, chromium, vitamin D, B6, and B12. So nutrients that will help to increase testosterone levels, which will help to support cardiovascular health and also help to balance blood sugar levels. So really nice combination formula to help overall hormonal health as men age. So for men that are looking for support for athletic performance, improvement in energy levels and vitality, they may benefit from this particular product. It is non-GMO and gluten-free and available in vegetarian capsules. And if you are ever looking to introduce a supplement, definitely, reach out to your healthcare provider to see if a particular product is appropriate for you or a member of your family. So just a few words on libido. We know that libido is impacted by stress, those changes in hormone levels, such as the low testosterone and high estrogen. We know that even certain medications, such as antidepressants, cardiovascular medications, and others can impact libido in both men and women. And, often with that, we're seeing reduced sexual response and function. And when that happens, that can definitely have a negative impact on self-esteem and personal relationships. We know in women, as they get older, there are changes in terms of low sexual desire. In men, they face more concerns with respect to erectile difficulties. So although, the concerns are different, there, is support available in terms of, again, making sure an individual is managing stress levels and sleeping well, eating well, and exercising. But there are also, specific nutrients and even herbal aphrodisiacs that can play a role in terms of supporting sexual health for men and women. So the one example of a product that can help is the Ultimate Performance with TONGKAT Ali. So this is actually a formula that provides 3 herbal aphrodisiacs, TONGKAT Ali, also known as Malaysian ginseng, Epimedium grandiflorum, also known as yin yang hao, is also helpful, and Damiana. And it also combines some key nutrients such as niacin and zinc to support the nutritional aspects of sexual health. So this product is non-GMO and suitable for vegetarians and vegans. So this is another sort of option available if individuals are looking to help support a healthy libido. Okay, the last sort of area that we're going to talk about tonight is prostate health, and then I'll take a look at any questions that you have after this. So prostate concerns, of course, are unique to men. And we know that the prostate gland specifically is responsible for secreting prostate fluid, which is a component of semen. There are various prostate concerns that can happen. The prostate, may face different infections, such as, acute or chronic bacterial infections. Chronic prostatitis may happen. Most commonly, men as they get older are facing concerns of BPH, also known as benign prostatic hyperplasia, and there can also be concerns of prostate cancer that can come up. We're going to focus on BPH, which refers to the enlargement or swelling of the prostate gland. Again, this is the most common health concern faced by men as they get older. And a variety of reasons for BPH. Oftentimes it's, a hormonal cause where testosterone is being converted to a hormone known as DHT. And that triggers, the growth of prostate cells and the enlargement of the prostate gland. So you can see in this image what happens. On the left, we have a normal prostate gland. The prostate sits below the bladder. And so when a man needs to urinate, urine will flow without concern. On the right, we can see what happens when the prostate enlarges. So when the prostate enlarges, it will, squeeze and impact the urethra. That's the tube where the urine will come out. And because of that impact, that will cause a lot of urinary symptoms. So oftentimes men will experience a weak urine stream, frequent urination, dribbling after urination, an urge to urinate, even if they don't have to, leakage of urine, and even frequent urination at nighttime. So a few things to pay attention to as men get older. What we see is about 50 to 60% of men in their 60s will experience BPH, and up to 80 to 90% of men over the age of 70 can expect to suffer from BPH. And I think there's a statistic too, by the age of 80, chances are 100% of men will be facing concerns of BPH. It's very important not to just assume the condition is BPH. We know that prostate cancer can present similarly. So it really is important that men are taking the time to get their prostate regularly screened. So a few steps to consider when it comes to supporting prostate health. Eating whole foods diet, very key. Specific foods especially can provide really important nutrients that have been shown in research to support the prostate. So tomatoes and tomato sauce provide lycopene. Lycopene has been shown to support prostate health. Wild fish, of course, for its anti-inflammatory properties. Green tea and pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds are high in zinc, and zinc is, of course, important mineral that supports male reproductive health. Other key steps here: reducing the intake of alcohol and processed foods, incorporating physical activity has been shown to support prostate health, getting regular prostate checkups, and supporting the prostate with specific nutrients and herbs. And again, discussing with your healthcare provider, either your medical doctor or naturopathic doctor, to see if this is a suitable solution. So one example of a prostate support formula is the Ultimate Prostate. This is a comprehensive blend of plant extracts and nutrients that help to support prostate tissue and function. So it will help in terms of reducing, that frequent urination, difficulty with urination, and frequent nighttime urination. So it provides beta-sitosterol, which is a plant sterol that has been shown to inhibit 5-alpha reductase. This is the enzyme that is involved in the conversion of testosterone to DHT. I talked about that hormone being the one that triggers the growth of the prostate cells and enlargement of prostate. It also contains pygium and stinging nettle extracts. These have been shown to improve symptoms of BPH, and other nutrients that will provide antioxidant and anti-inflammatory support, such as lycopene, selenium, rosemary extract, and rye pollen. This product is gluten-free, non-GMO, and suitable for vegetarians. Okay, so just some concluding points, and then I'll move to the Q&A. So if you can take anything from tonight, I hope it's these main points that would be very important to incorporate, for yourself, if this topic, concerns you, or for the men in your life, if you're listening for someone else. So regular checkups and screening tests, very, very important throughout life for early disease detection and prevention. Also remembering not to ignore those alarming signs and symptoms that might take place, that can, give you that signal that, there's something more serious going on. Diet, again, we can't get away from that. So following that 80 to 20 rule, where 80% of the time you are consuming real healthy food, minimizing processed food, but 20% of the time just allowing some flexibility in terms of, enjoying foods that you might not otherwise eat. Engaging in regular physical movement. So whatever that might be for you, walking, dancing, running, swimming, so many activities that we can engage in, individual activities, team sports, also really great. And don't forget, some mindfulness and deep breathing exercises as well. Not smoking and eliminating alcohol consumption. We know this can be very damaging for hormone levels, prostate health, stress levels as well. Looking at managing stress, again, men don't often express the concerns that they have with respect to stress and how it impacts their mental and physical health. So opening up that conversation is very, very important. And then looking at ways to support those adrenal glands like we talked about. Getting restorative sleep, also very key. And then looking at specific nutrients that may support men's health, such as zinc, vitamin D3, omega-3 fatty acids, magnesium, and B vitamins. You can look at, supplementing these individually, looking at taking them as part of a multivitamin or as part of condition-specific natural health products that will, support certain aspects of health. And some key herbals as well that are very important, such as MACA, ashwagandha, and TONGKAT ali. So I just wanted to say a few words in terms of, some of the natural health products that we often purchase, and just ensuring that what you're taking is of high quality. I think this is very important. If you are investing in supplements, then it's, very important that you are purchasing ones that that are clean and pure and are effective for the body. So all of the products that I spoke about tonight are iSura certified. iSura is a not-for-profit Canadian organization. It's a third-party testing for products, and they use various testing methods that actually look for over 800 different test points, ranging from pesticides, heavy metals, GMOs, solvents, to really confirm a product's potency, safety, and label claims. And this is very, very important. Again, we're investing in supplements, and we want to make sure that we're getting ones that are high quality. So when you see this iSura label on the products that you're taking, it means that the product is non-GMO compliant, it's contaminant-free, it's adulterant-free, authenticated, and accurately labeled. And the standards set by iSura actually exceed those that are set by, the Canadian government and the United States, and, standards set by the European Union and Australia as well. So really important feature, I think, when you're looking at purchasing products. So for more information, if you're interested to learn more about iSura, definitely go to their website at isura.ca. Okay, so that concludes my slides. If you do have any, I'm going to address the questions right now, but if you do have any other questions outside of this time, feel free to contact Assured Natural customer service at the information provided there. All right, so we have about 10 minutes left, and I'm going to, I know it looks like there's two areas with some questions. So let's see. So I'm just in the chat feature now, so I'll start there. So is it okay to take both ultimate testosterone and ultimate performance at the same time? So it is, because the ultimate testosterone will work on the low testosterone levels and high estrogen. The performance will provide a little bit more support in terms of helping libido. So what I would suggest maybe is starting one at a time. Oftentimes the cause of the low libido is the low testosterone and high estrogen. So you can actually start there. But if you did want something a little bit more acute and specific for the libido, then you can incorporate the ultimate performance. So comment here, it's fine for women to take ashwagandha. Yes, definitely, it's fine. It will also be helpful in terms of, that adaptogenic effect and helping women deal and handle stress. I think I'm reading in the wrong direction here, so let me go back up. Okay, so let me go back up here. So what are smart carbs? So smart carbs are things like quinoa, barley, brown rice. If you do eat carbohydrates, I know some people minimize their intake of carbohydrates, then that's fine. But if you are looking at more smart carbohydrates, you're looking at more whole grains and vegetables like sweet potatoes that are just a little bit more healthier in terms of carbohydrate content. Okay, so somebody just answered that. So yeah, thank you. Complex carbs that break down much slower than simple carbs. Yeah, so we want to avoid the white refined carbohydrates, the white pasta, the white rice. These will have a bigger impact on our blood sugar levels and insulin levels. We want to go more whole grain, slower breakdown absorption. So thank you. Okay. Okay, there will be a recorded copy sent out. I know that will be taken care of, so no problems there. Is AMLA an adaptogen? I haven't used AMLA as much as an adaptogen, but I believe it is, so yes. Some other really important adaptogens. So in addition to maca, of course, ashwagandha is an important adaptogen. Rhodiola is also an important adaptogen as well. Ginseng also very important. What happens to women who take ashwagandha? Does it increase their testosterone? It has a really balancing effect. So it will help in terms of balancing that, the hypothalamus, pituitary, the cortisol levels. So will help in terms of balancing all hormones. I think I got that. Okay, hopefully that's all answered. Now I'm going to move on to the Q&A. Okay. So first question here, I'm wondering what K2 is and what it does and what function D3 provides, and do they need to be taken together? So that's a very great question. So vitamin K2 is a fat-soluble vitamin. There are different types of vitamin K, K1, and K2. K2 specifically has been researched with respect to supporting bone health and other areas of health. If you recall, a few years back, there has been concern in terms of the use of calcium supplements and calcium supplements increasing the risk of heart disease. And what we know is when calcium is taken on its own, it's not always directed to the bone where it needs to go. It often goes to the soft tissues, which can include our arteries. K2 plays a very important role in terms of directing calcium to the right place. It also works along with D3 to support bone health. So very, very important to take. And yes, you can take D3 and K2 together. So next question, question about testosterone supplements. With so many various supplements for men out there, it's confusing to navigate the jungle of marketing versus what is legit. I'm wondering if these really work, if it's worth the money. how they work, and there are certain testosterone boosting we do suggest for men. So I did talk about the ultimate testosterone boost. I know there are others. The ones in that particular formula do have clinically researched ingredients, such as the ashwagandha, the DIM, which will help in terms of supporting hormone metabolism, which is very important, and the other nutrients, such as the vitamin D3. There are others, so of course it's hard to, specifically choose which one would be right for you. So I do encourage you to reach out to your health care provider to see which one might be appropriate, but definitely look for ones that have research-backed ingredients that are of high quality and that, again, will be effective in terms of raising testosterone levels. Okay, so you just partially answered question 2. Are there others that you would recommend, and what are the top ingredient amounts you should be looking for? So I can get that to you, Greg, in terms of amounts. If there's specific herbs that you're looking at, then I can reach out. Usually ashwagandha, the dosage is around 600 milligrams per day. That's the recommendation. And then just really depends on any other herbs or nutrients that you're looking for. But oftentimes these products are designed to provide substantial levels of the nutrients that are needed to have a health benefit. So is there a way to naturally reduce the size of the prostate? So I believe I did discuss that a little bit. So if that wasn't clear, then, feel free to reach out. And the next question, is popcorns considered healthy food, healthy snack, I would say. Some people have sensitivity to corn and, of course, should be avoided. So oftentimes popcorn can be a healthy snack occasionally, but we definitely want to look at, fresh fruits and vegetables and those kind of foods in terms of a healthy diet. Does taking a Crestor cause erectile dysfunction? I believe that can have an impact. So definitely if that's happening, then speak to your medical doctor. And okay, great. Thank you for your email, Greg. I'll reach out for any other information that you might need.
Stephanie, there was one more question that came up in the Q&A. It's which magnesium supplement do you recommend for general health?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I don't see that. Okay. Thank you. So when it comes to magnesium, there's definitely different types of magnesium supplements available. I think they say there's like over 12 types. So you'll see, magnesium oxide, citrate, bisglycinate, threonate, so many others, malate. So it really depends on the health concern that someone has. Oftentimes, the most common ones that people will use are magnesium citrate and bisglycinate. They are economical, easy to use, a few different, they have been shown in terms of improving deficiencies of magnesium. One of the main differences, of course, magnesium citrate may be a little bit more stimulating to the bowel. Individuals may experience, a little bit of diarrhea or loose bowels with magnesium citrate if they're sensitive. In those cases, magnesium bisglycinate is a better option. Magnesium bisglycinate does not cause digestive upset at all and is a very easy form to absorb. There are other types of magnesium, such as magnesium threonate, which has been researched to support brain health and memory loss. And there are others as well, but we want to try to really keep it simple. We're usually looking at magnesium citrate and bisglycinate as the most common forms that are used and recommended. There is a question here about testosterone injections. That's out of my realm. That's not something that I do in practice, so I wouldn't be the best person to answer that question. So definitely speak to your medical doctor about that if that's something that you'd like to consider. Oops. All right. So I think I got everything. Okay. Any other questions? at all. Okay, so I do know this recording will be sent out. So if you'd like to listen to it again or send it to someone who would find it interesting, then definitely go ahead and do that. And again, feel free to reach out to me or Assured Natural should you have any other questions.